In today's show, it's going to go a little different. It's going to be unscripted, but some things we're going to talk about today, separating the illusions. And how does one separate or unplug from the illusion you no longer want to take part in? We're also going to talk about meditation and what I kept hearing in my meditations this last week. Love. If love is really all that one needs, if all it is love, as the Beatles say, what has so many people not be able to love, to receive love, and also to push love away? It's about taking our power back. So stay tuned. Join me on this ride today as we begin to ponder these questions that I've really been pondering this week. Here we go. Welcome back to the Intuitive Mentor Mom podcast, where we explore strategies for practicing more self-love, gratitude, and finding new ways to empower ourselves in this ever-changing healing adventure of life happening for us. I'm your host, Tara Michelle. Let's get started. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thank you again for joining and tuning in. If you did tune in last week when I always forget, 2 weeks ago when we were working with Megan Wempy and talking about hormones. That was a pretty awesome and incredible conversation. And it's funny because I've had some new things transpire in the realm of health and hormones, which we'll get into in a later episode because I had to do some testing and relook at some things because I think things have gotten better and I might have to make some shifts and get off of the replacement therapy. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that, and I'll keep you posted and tell you what it was that I did different that may have caused that. But today I want to talk about some interesting things, and I'm going to just preface this episode with I don't really know what I know what we're talking about. I just don't know how it's going to come out. And that's because I myself have been moving through a different and interesting type of gap. And I'm going to reference episode 1. If you haven't listened to episode 1, when I talk about being in the gap and life in the gap, I really believe that the juiciest pieces of life occur when we're in the gap. And some might be asking, well, what does that mean, the gap, Tara? The gap is when you are in between. I'll just use this as an example. Let's say you get laid off from a job like I did back in January of 2024. So the gap would be the time that you're laid off in that space between the time that you start a new job, in all the emotions, the spaces, the illusion that you create between that time you're laid off to the time you finally land your next job. So that's the gap. So I'm in a new gap, a different gap. I think we're always journeying through gaps on various stages of our life or various moments of our life, whether it's gaps between relationships, gaps between, expectations of yourself as a parent versus what you're actually doing and what you're trying to learn how to do and the progress of doing. And, you're navigating that with your children, right? There's always a gap. So today's episode, as I shared, it's really me asking this question. And I've been asking my higher self and God this question. If this world is purely and solely, okay, take a step back. For those of you listening to this episode, there are going to be some things that I talk about, and there are going to be some things that I share that are going to require you to really think outside of the box or think outside of your understanding of life in a fixed idea. Okay? When I say fixed idea, that you look at a tree, you see a tree, the tree is tree because we say it's a tree and it's green leaves with brown bark. That's a fixed idea, okay? And we as the population of the world and people have agreed upon that that is what a tree is. We've even agreed upon that we call it a tree, okay? That's a fixed idea. More fixed ideas would be that we call the color blue, that we call a chair, and that a chair has a certain physical form and it looks like a certain way and it has four legs and it has a cushion or something to that effect. Some of them have three legs, but we have a fixed idea of what a chair looks like. Okay. I'm asking you that are listening, some of you that are listening may totally resonate with things I'll say, or may feel that things I say have like it's not a thing for you at all because you too can live outside of fixed ways of being and fixed ideas of our world. Things about myself is I am a seeker. I've been a seeker since the beginning of my time that I can remember. I have been somebody, this is also going to be an episode of Raw Truth because I have been asking myself some very deep questions. The questions may not sound deep, but they are deep because I really want to understand the truth and the meaning of certain things that keep occurring as patterns in my life. And when I'm looking at breaking down patterns of my life, I ask myself some questions and I like to get answers that go deeper than the surface. This also goes back to the last two episodes ago when I talked about uh, the mind being our garden, the bulb of that garden, the seed and the roots of that garden is our heart. Because I believe that this life we live is a healing adventure. I see it now as a heart healing adventure. That is actually how I see the world today, that it's one big opportunity of a heart healing adventure. Again, follow with me, and I apologize up front if I'm all over the place. As I sat down to write the notes for this show, I kept hearing, just get on and do it raw and live. No notes. And I thought, oh shit, okay, I will listen. So that's what I'm doing. But the 3 points I want to bring up are the separation of illusion, what came up in my meditation about that, and if love is all we really need, what is it that has people push it away? And more so, I'm asking myself because I'm looking at patterns and then looking at how we take that power back, how we take power back. So getting back to the illusion and this illusion that we live. And as I have been doing my own personal gardening to my mind, tending to my mind and listening to my heart and really asking if the situations I have created that are in my life right now, I have a situation in my financial house, I have a situation in my romantic and love house, and I have a situation in my health house. Those situations are neither negative or positive. They simply are where I'm at in each of those areas of my life. Each of these situations have been interesting to move through. And the most prevalent one right now will be finances. That's maybe the one that I can really look at. When going back to episode 1 and when I talked about the gap and when I talked about what I had to do with my finances and what I chose to do, I then eventually got a job, which I thought was going to be the really great job. And it turned out that that job didn't quite go the way I had hoped. And as a result, at the end of last year, I had to move to another job because keeping that job would not have been the wisest choice for my family and I. As a result of that transition and that job not panning out the way I had hoped fiscally, and things that were totally out of my control, and things that were not honest, and things that were, I'm just going to say, not in integrity. And so I had to make an executive decision for myself to make a move again. I feel really good about the move I've made. Of course, I had a couple opportunities. Of course, at moments in time, I've gone back to the shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Did I choose the right one? Did I choose the right one? And that, I believe, is when we catch ourselves in a pitfall. And why I'm going to say that is because in this illusion, and I talked about this in several other episodes, which I wish I could remember what those episodes were. So in episode 22 is where I really talk about that heart, brain, garden, mind, and understanding. And then also going back to, gosh, I'm trying to remember what episodes it was. It was that whole series of playing on the chord of life. And I did a number of different episodes. I want to say between episode 13 and episode 15. And then episode 12, where we're talking about redefining your reality or the illusion of life. So I want to get back to this thing called the illusion of life. And I've been, let me just get to the point because I can go in a lot of story and I don't want to get all caught up in the weeds and in the story today. I want to stay focused on the meat of this conversation and the questions that keep coming up. This week, when sitting with looking at my situation financially, the gap that I'm in, where I see the end result, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm absolutely having to travel through that gap and looking at who am I going to be as I travel through this very narrow, squeezed in gap. And that's like the finances, right? We're squeezing them in because I have been used to a certain level of income. And that transition last year really shrunk that whatever the amount was, what I'd been making. And now I'm back on rebuilding and getting back to that place and to go beyond that place. But right now, it's about squeezing in. Now, in this particular gap, the thing that's been different and something else to share about my past is I have lost a house to foreclosure over 10 years ago. That was during the '08 crash in California. I'm not in that situation this time at all. However, the gap that I'm in is bringing the lifestyle in which we were living, the all the other things that I don't want to say they were excess, but they're excess today, and having to squeeze all that back in. And has there been fear? Absolutely. Has there been this space of unknown? Yes. But there was something different about the fear this time. And the fear has not been like, I don't feel I'm going to lose anything. Like, I don't feel like we're not going to lose the house. It's not that type of experience. The experience this time feels like, because I began to ask myself, am I in a pattern? Am I in a pattern? Oh shit, I might be in a pattern. Is this a pattern? And when I would meditate and I would sit still and I would empty my mind I would literally hear, like it was coming from my left ear, a whisper, "It's an illusion. It's an illusion." That's the whisper that I would hear. And when I would hear that, I would just tune into, it's an illusion. Okay. If it's an illusion, how do I unplug from that illusion? How do I separate myself from that illusion that I created in the space of fear? I also began to look at what part of my garden, my heart, my mind, is housing this pattern. Okay. I'm still in that quandary. I don't have the answers. I don't know. But what I do know today, and take this on for yourself in any area of your life, what I do know today is that the fear wasn't like that survival fear of, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything. And those have been the fears in the past. It wasn't like that. It's different. It's like, and it's because I trust in God. I know God's got me. I know that we are safe. I know that nothing's happening. I know that if I had to, I'll just sell my house. Like I know, but we're not there. I have a great job. I have a great job, amazing job, and I'm grateful. So grateful. And I'm having fun. Like I actually love the product that I sell because it makes a difference in the world. And I believe in it and it's important. And everybody should actually do what I offer, this test that I offer. Um, I can't put my finger on what's different about it because there's definitely been stress. But there was something about, we're going to take you back to this space and we're going to watch. I don't want to say we're going to watch you. We're going to see how you navigate this space this time. Okay. Because the truth is, I really want to unplug from pattern and paradigm lineages of poverty thinking, of scarcity thinking, all of these things wrapped up in lineage and paradigms from both sides of my family. And the idea was for me, that's not mine. That's not mine to take on. That's not mine to bear. What is mine? And who am I? And who will I be to really step into who I am? And that is this place that I feel I am in my life right now is who am I? And who will I be to step into who I am? Right? Just try that on for yourself. Anybody listening is the other piece I want to throw in here is all of the eclipse energy that we're moving through. It is all to clear out that which no longer serves you. It is all to clear out all of the unlooked at baggage that either you haven't looked at or it's been a long time since you looked at, or you've looked at a number of times, but you keep holding on to it. This time in our life, I just heard paradoxically, but this time in our life is the time to remove all of that baggage. You have to leave it at the gate because where we're about to go, there's no place for that baggage. And so the places where I'm at, both financially, which, I love it. A friend of mine said, we have kingdom wealth, and my son and I absolutely have kingdom wealth. And maybe I'll do a whole episode just on that so people understand what that means if you haven't heard that. I had never heard of it, but it makes so much sense. I have kingdom wealth where wealth comes to me in different ways, where I got to go to a concert last week on free tickets because my neighbor used to be roommates with with the bass player of the band. Um, I won free tickets to another concert just this week, and it's a big, huge festival. So I get to go to that. Like, this is that kingdom wealth where um, it's not about having all the money in the world, right? It's about who you be, what you give back. Are you open to receive? So I feel I can go down this tangent and just keep going on, but I'm going to put a pin on that area of life. The other area was romantic relationships, and really having to, like, in this last couple years, I have been really digging deep to let go of lineages of abuse, lineages of not being enough, not being smart enough, not being pretty enough, blah, 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 blah. A lot of that is not mine. A lot of that is baggage that I brought in from my mother and my grandmother and whoever else had those awful thoughts about themselves. And this life for me has been about overcoming self-worth. I keep asking my higher self, if God, okay, here's another piece. I'm reading a book. Okay, going to drop this in. I'm currently listening to a book on Audible called Voices of the Confederation. This book I've known about for years, in the realm of hypnosis and past life regression. I am all about these conversations with off-planet beings that channel through. Okay. So that's what this book is about. It's about an off-planet group channeling through these individuals in the 70s and the recordings that they came back with, and then they published a book. There's also another book called um, um, the Law of One, the Book of Ra. Okay, some of you may or may not know of that, but those are out there, and I have been intuitively called to listen to those. I'll say not again, but now, because a couple of the books I've owned for more than 10 years, and they've just been sitting there, but the time was now to listen to them now. So there is this idea. Now, again, I want you to take off your fixed way of thinking, but there is this idea that when God created life and creation here, it was never intended that we have dark energy, right? Negativity. When God created creation here, God gave us free will, which is not common in other aspects of universes and other planets. But here we have free will. God never intended that this free will turn into a virus. That's the easiest way I can say it. And that once that virus kept rolling, and when I say virus, we're talking about the thoughts in the mind. And this is where the illusion comes in. So as they explain it in the book, is that the illusion of life was these thoughts, right? The idea was to have free will. The idea was to have beautiful love and light and to create this beautiful world, this utopian world, all from the space and creation of love. However, when you have free will, you have the ability to have thoughts outside of love. And here's where the illusion comes from. Those thoughts can be thoughts of greed or thoughts of hate or thoughts of rage or thoughts of anger, whatever it is, thoughts of fear, thoughts of paranoia, right? Because the brain is powerful. It's a powerful mechanism. It's a powerful machine. Even though the heart, as I mentioned in that episode a couple weeks back or 2 episodes back, the heart is your hard drive. It's where everything is coming from. And then it speaks to the brain. The brain then goes back to the heart. But the heart is actually producing more of that conversation. It has emotions. It has feelings. It has memories. Emotions and feelings are the same. Has memories. It has thought. And it talks to the brain. So imagine this is all what if scenario, okay? This is all what if for those of you who enjoy thinking outside of a fixed reality. What if you see these two individuals way back when, right? Or whenever, or a few individuals on the planet, and they begin to have these thoughts because this mechanism and machinery is powerful. And next thing you know, that thought begets another thought, begets another thought, begets another thought. Now, what do our thoughts create? They create our reality. So imagine years, millennia, hundreds of thousands of years of this stinking thinking has now constructed this illusion amongst the illusion of love. Okay. Now, here we are, 2025. How many decades have we gone in the constructs of these illusions? Decades. I'm only in my fifth decade, middle of my fifth decade. And I'm living inside of not only my illusions, but all the illusions that we as a collective have created. Now, follow me, please. What I have been asking is, how do I unplug if it's just an illusion? How do I unplug from that and plug into 100% the illusions I desire to create? I mean, isn't that all there is to this world? But we live like we don't have power to these illusions. We live like we're shackled by them. And I'm going to say, we are not. I am going to say, I am not. And every day, rather than looking for the evidence of that illusion that you wish not to have, like the one I currently have been walking through with finances, I created that in my fear. But the thing is I'm not the only one. There are numbers of us fearing financial situations in this country right now because of things that we are not in control of, honestly. But we are in control on another level. And that is that we don't have to plug into the story they keep pushing upon us. The practice is creating a story you desire and then not getting hung up on those triggered emotions and feelings that are the opposite of it. I really don't know where I'm headed with all of this today, but I thank you for continuing to join me in this conversation. And I was told in my intuitive space I was meditating, get on here and just talk. Because the other piece is, if love is all that is needed, if love is all there is, the next question I began to ask myself in the area of romantic relationships is, when did I start pushing love away if who I am is all love? When did I begin to push love away? And I've had a lot of work to do to recognize and be open to and be ready for love to come in. And I've had to see where I have pushed love away at the minutest moment, like minutia, like, oh, that was me pushing love away. Even to the point of my dogs. Like when my dogs are like, oh, we just want to love all over you. And I'm like, God, not right now. That's me pushing love away. Not to say you don't need your space sometimes, okay? But these are questions, real life questions that I've been asking myself and that I invite you to explore for yourself, especially in a world, I woke up to this recently, in a world where we are creating an illusion called, you don't need the narcissist, or you don't need him, or you don't need her. You only need yourself. Yeah, but we also are partnered beings. We thrive on connection and communication. So all of this stuff that's all over social media about narcissism and psychosis and be one, be with yourself, be with yourself, be with yourself, be with yourself, be with yourself. I get it. Absolutely be with yourself. Go inward and reflect. But that doesn't mean that you just say fuck you to all that over there, to those people that may care about you. Or do you care about them? By the way, I'm not saying go run back into the abusive situation. What I'm trying to say is what I'm seeing is it's easy to get caught in the illusion called, I don't even know what to call it. I've been trying to figure out what this is. And I think it is a symptom and a product of the Gen Xers of the world because many of us had really abusive, situations. We had crazy physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. The Gen Zs, the Gen Ys, or whatever the hell, the beta group, whatever these kids are today, it's different. Like whatever, when they're in their 50s, they're going to be dealing with a different social construct that they're going to see all over their web or however we're communicating then of what they have to overcome. And I guarantee it's probably going to be something around communication because they're going to have to remove themselves from staring at a screen and actually be with people. So that might be their thing that they have to overcome. But our thing here right now is all this shit on narcissism and how you need to just be with yourself. Well, great. But we're social beings. So be careful of the illusion that you prescribe to. I think that you can heal a lot of yourself in what's being said out there. But it doesn't mean totally, it's not all or nothing, okay? It's everything in moderation. Because at the end of the day, we have to bring love back. And the truth is, you can't love another until you love yourself. And yes, we have to find love within ourselves. I feel like I'm on such a tangent, but these are questions I've been really deeply asking because I am committed to healing my heart in this adventure, in this journey called life. And I want to give whatever I gain or learn back to somebody else who might be traveling deeply where I have been already. But it won't occur unless we're asking the questions. So how do we create that illusion that we desire if this is a dream world? If this is a meta world? If this is a matrix? And how do we stop running inside of the collective's idea of the fixed ways of being that aren't making a difference for you, me, or the collective? Those of us have to wake up, unplug, and plug into creating love in our world. It starts with us, it heals within us, and then it seeps out to those around us. And that is taking your power back. I don't know the answers to taking the power back, but I can say how I choose to take my power back is recognize when I'm caught up in those emotions or those fears or those those ways of being that aren't making a difference for those around me. That when I can recognize that I'm there and I can catch it and say, ooh, there I am. Then I can pull back and I can plug in and recreate. And a perfect example is, and I talked about this in the episode of the single parent heavy. When I get scared, I get mad. When I am in a deep, eternal fear, not eternal, internal fear, like it's a primal fear. I'll start looking around and like find things to be pissed off about. And I was in that state last weekend. I was in that state last weekend, like so in that state. And, you know, got in my son's face a couple times and then had to go back and say, dude, I'm so sorry. I am in primal fear right now, just deep fear, and it's all coming out. But the cool thing was that I saw it, and I saw it almost in an instant. Within an hour or less, I saw it. I was like, oh, this is that thing I do. This is that thing I do. This is the pattern I have. Okay, okay, I'm scared. Why am I scared? Why? Nothing's happening. The fridge is full. The closet's full of clothes for both him and I, my son and I. The house is paid for. Not paid for, but everything's paid. So what are you really fearing? The illusion. What is the illusion, Tara? And what can you do about it? Can you pull back on your budget and cut things off? Can you stop doing certain things that you love to do for a little while? What can you do? And so why are you in fear? I hope that whatever I have shared today about the illusion, about bringing love, because really at the end of the day, it is all about love, and then taking your power back. I hope that something has sparked something of a thought for yourself that you can hopefully take back and do something for yourself and make a difference for yourself. Maybe it triggered some good things. Maybe it triggered some things that pissed you off. But the truth is, as I walk on this heart healing adventure in life, there are times and days where it is not perfect for me, where I have all the human emotions. And the only thing different that I can say about who I am today versus who I was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago is that what I'm experiencing right now is more trusting God than I've ever experienced in my life. And knowing that it's all going to work out. Here's bigger things I'm thinking about, like my retirement. I have to buy a car for my kids soon. College. That's all big shit I got to think about. It all costs money, right? And people will say, oh, let him buy his car. Sure. But I'm going to help him if he needs help, whatever. But those are the big things that are in my future that I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then I have to remind myself, why are you oh shitting? Just be in the now moment. Because right now is all you have. You're not even in those places yet. Yet we hand over our power, our energy, our love, our time to those crazy illusions that have been constructed in this world that say, you gotta have it all figured out right now. And kudos to those who have figured it all out right now. And then there's some of us who we figure our shit out along the way. And that's okay. Because I'll say this, everyone is here to have their own human experience. Whoever is listening to this show, it is your show. Right now, I'm living the Tara show. My son's living his show. My friend is living her show. My other friend, he's living his show. Whatever your name is that's listening to it, it's that show, the Sally show, the Joe show, the Bob show, whoever, Sally Mae show. It's your show. It's your stage. And it's okay to live it however you choose. Free of judgment, free of fear, free of constraints. Like really having the freedom to be who you truly are and love every aspect of your life. And that if you don't love it, You have to look in the mirror. You cannot look outside, because the outside, if you remember what I said, if the outside is looking a certain way, it's purely a reflection of the garden in your mind. And that garden is rooted and seeded from the heart. And you have to do your heart healing adventure. And it's not easy. So I'm going to leave you all with that today. That was a lot. What the hell? Like, I hope that made a difference. And thank you for listening. I'm excited because I'm going to bring my son on to the show. We're going to have an episode pretty soon here. And we're just going to talk about some life things and talk about what it is for him and I to be the single mom and be the kid of a single parent household, and share some views and perspectives from his side of the wall and my side of the wall, or his side of the room and my side of the room. And also, what we've learned from it and how we've grown the way we do. I mean, he's young, he has a whole life ahead of him, but he's such a wise soul. And I can't wait to share him with the world. I already share him with the world every day he goes out into the world, and he's just a magnificent soul. But to share him on my show, because he's a special dude. So I hope to bring him on the next episode. But we will continue this journey of healing our hearts and really looking at the illusions of life and unplugging from them to create that which you desire. And I really invite those of you who want to go on a heart healing adventure, please reach out to me. Set up time. We can have our consult call. I'm excited to be working with a guest this weekend. Or I guess I don't want to say she's a guest to the show. She's a listener. She reached out to me, and I was so ecstatic to hear from her because, I'm here to help however I can with the energy gifts that I can support you with. And I do believe that the more we heal our hearts, the lighter and the freer life will become. And it will become not only for the collective, but for you first and foremost. It's because it is about you. So thank you to all that are listening. I wish you all a blessed and amazing week. And until next time, our next show, 2 weeks from today, I'll see you then. Have a blessed day. Thanks and take care. Thank you for coming on this healing adventure today. If you're starting to see how everything is falling into place for you, consider rating the show and sharing it with one of your friends. Keep that spirit alive and join me next week, same place, same time. Have a great week.